Well, this trip to Africa was a strategic trip in that we were going to see how the projects that we are working on are going.
It was amazing seeing the boys from the Forever Home. We took them out for a couple of days and just spending that time with them. Had so much fun. It's wonderful to see the way they're growing, not just physically, but spiritually and in maturity as well. And showing Bayside's investment in the Forever Home over the last decade or more, really paying dividends in these 8 boys' lives.
Going out on safari with the Forever Home boys was so exciting for me. Going to the game reserve is something I've done a lot as a kid, and what a privilege it was to do it with the boys for the first time ever. The excitement on some of their faces, like little Impilo actually was the only one who knew how to use binoculars. But all the other kids were fighting over the other pairs of binoculars that I had, trying to spot the first animal, trying to spot the first giraffe, and getting really excited and really nervous when we saw the elephants.
What I love about Acres of Love, and we went and actually visited the Provision House and actually learnt more about the organisation whilst we were in Joburg, is that Acres actually take the hardest cases. So when an orphanage calls them and says, do you have any spaces for any children? They actually go there and they choose the children that are so unlikely to get adopted because they have not only HIV or AIDS, but a permanent disability, and will take them in and love them so that they literally can have a forever home.
Then we saw Metabo, and that was just incredible. We were so excited to see her. She looks absolutely stunning. And she's graduated, and we're so proud of her. Metabo is one of our first children in the home, and she came to us when she was 8, and she has just grown into such a beautiful young woman.
Seeing Metabo for the first time in 2 years was amazing. She's grown so much, and we're really just like sisters now. We just picked up where we left off.
We did a 2-day pastors conference in Johannesburg in a township called Kahiso. It's one of the poorer areas, I would say exclusively black area. Very few white pastors actually go in and teach the black pastors. Normally they have to travel. And so these guys are really, really grateful to have people come in and share with them, share the word of God together. We really built some great friendships during those 2 days.
Doing the youth and young adult sessions in Johannesburg was really good. We got to do that in a township, very poor but just amazing people, their life that they have, the brightness in their eyes, and they can dance like no one else. They taught me a few moves and that was awesome. It was really cool to be able to spend time with them, and they love playing games. They were amazing at the games.
Showing them how we do stuff was a lot of fun, but also then to see them worship too. As a musician, it's something I always look at, something I always wonder how they do or question or just observe. And to see them pour out their hearts with just a drum kit that's broken and a keyboard that's out of tune, and to see them sing and worship from such a place of love and devotion to God was amazing.
We went from Joburg to Swaziland, and never been there before, and we met with a number of pastors there during the day. I think one of my highlights there though was watching the young adult team. It was so exciting to watch our team in action.
The first night we went, actually the lights were out. Jacob was speaking and it didn't throw him off at all. It was really, really cool, but like the atmosphere in the room, because it was a warehouse and the lights were off, and just the echoes of just people singing.
And then chatting to one of the guys there on that night, they said they don't have a guitarist or a guitar. I felt something straight away to go and buy them a guitar, but 9 o'clock at night, had to wait till the next day. Pastor Rob and I, we go down to the music shop, we buy them a guitar and present it to them on the second night. And just the thankfulness and their appreciation was absolutely incredible.
We drove on the Friday morning down to an area called Tonga, and again, very poor area, exclusively black. And on the car trip, we got into a bit of a rap. And then in Tonga we did a couple of days pastor seminars and also worked with the youth and young adults too.
We turned up to what we thought was our first night session. This is typical of Africa. They had rescheduled and didn't tell us. Their memos are different to ours. We missed a lot of them. But the next day we go and do another session during the leaders conference. So the young adults turn up as well, and I reckon there was about 30 of them.
And we flew on the Saturday to Joburg, and then on the Sunday flew up to Zambia. And we were there for about 5 or 6 days. Wonderful to see Moffat and Doreen Zimba. We go back 25 years, and so there was a lot of reminiscing to do. We spent a lot of time looking around Northrise University, seeing the development there, seeing the development of vision, meeting some of the students, and doing a pastors' conference in Ndola as well.
Going to Northrise, there's been a 2-year gap since we've been there. It was just boggling. I almost have no words for it. But just to see the vision that's inside Moffat and Doreen and their total reliance on God to supply their needs, but also they're making good with everything that their hand touches.
We were walking down the street and nearly every single person would say hi to Moffat. He was so well known. The impact he's having in the community and with the university is really something to behold.
Moffat is known by everybody. They are so well respected, but what they are doing is literally changing a country through education.
Then we went and visited the farm out there as well to see what they're doing out there with their plantation and the chickens, all that sort of stuff. They have so much business strategy and so much plan and vision for the area and for their university.
Zambians have a very beautiful, gentle nature about them. I was so impressed with what Moffat and Doreen are doing at Northrise University. Such incredibly smart, incredibly accomplished people, and yet so incredibly humble.
Moffat and Doreen, they've been wanting to develop an orphanage for some time, but rather than them develop it directly, they've worked with a graduate from their school, from the college. And she's doing a phenomenal job with 80 orphans. I mean, some of the stories are just mind-boggling.
The school is a day orphanage in Zambia, and the kids go there during the day to get their education, and they get 1 meal a day.
We played with the kids, we taught them stuff about Jesus and read the Bible to them and sang lots of songs, and it was good.
They're literally working to change their lives, and some of these kids have just endured the most horrendous things. Horrendous abuse or neglect, or they've lost their parents, but yet they sing and they pray and they worship with such fervour and grace. It was just incredible.
So on the last day at the school, Joyce shared a prayer with us, with the kids, and then she said to the kids, "Now say your own prayers." And something erupted. It was beautiful. There was a presence of God that just hit the place. As the kids, they'd turn around, they'd put their heads down, they'd close their eyes, whatever they were doing, but this presence of God just hit the room. And it was touching. I am a tough guy, I don't cry. I cried. It was a beautiful moment to see the kids praying and getting on their knees before Jesus and just pouring out their hearts.
You know, I never thought that such joy could come from giving children balloons and blowing bubbles.
While I was doing the 2-day seminar for pastors, there was over 100 pastors in Ndola who came together, and I met these 2 young guys, Abel and Gerald, 20 and 23 respectfully, both orphans, and we just got into a really good conversation, and I found out that these 2 men have the call of God on their life. Their desire was to go to Northrise University, but they both come from very poor backgrounds. And so I introduced them to Moffat, and long story short, Northrise University are going to give them a 75% scholarship. We will pay the rest, and we're going to put them through Northrise University. They'll do a 4-year ministry degree, and then they'll launch out and plant a church in Zambia.
I had the opportunity to speak on leadership at the Pastors' Conference, which was a great privilege. And I shared some of my experience in school, university, work, and church leadership. And I had people who were so experienced and so much more my senior coming up to me afterwards saying that I'd taught them something. And yet that's just more of the humility that they have because they're never too old to learn.
So we went from Zambia, where it was quite challenging and confronting, down to our good friends, Alan and Janine Bagg, in Cape Town, which of course we adore Cape Town.
So I ministered there all weekend and then through the week at their Come Celebrate conference.
My expectations going in were what I expect Africa to be from my past experience, but getting there it was something else. It was awesome to see the servant-heartedness of the guys there, but also to see the excellence in the house. They really put in a lot of hard work, and it showed. It was a beautiful conference. Georgia Grace and I did an item in one of the sessions and had people left, right and centre saying you guys are great, but I was impacted by the work they put in.
I made a special friend at Cape Town and her name was Sarah, and once we went on this play date. It was on Thursday and we had an Easter egg hunt. We played with my Barbies.
And then on the Friday we flew home, 25 hours, and we're back in Melbourne.